Gentlemen, today we're going over the 1860 Henry repeating arms lever gun.
I'm a man of the law, sworn to dispense the justice of the land upon he who walks in the way of the devil. God may forgive those who sin against him, but my lever gun don't. I'll put that ragged outlaw down like the damn dog that he is. Woe to the vanquished. Woe to the balaclava boy.
Well, if it ain't good old talking balaclava boy. Been trying to catch you for some time now, Sonny. The law's caught up to you. Law dog Aaron. Plan on taking me in? I plan to take you in. Dead or alive's up to you. Reckon this, law dog. What if I don't want to go with you? Well, I reckon that's our problem then. Hell of a shot, law dog. I ain't dying. No coward. Sick. Tastes like corn syrup. So today we're going over this 1860 Reproduction Henry arms of the Winchester 1860 that was made during the Civil War era. Now, the 1860 lever gun was to the Civil War what like the STG-44 would be to World War II, which I think is a fair analogy. It really put firearms tech onto the bleeding edge of that era. Gentlemen, I know you're on the toilet drinking your coffee, consuming your tequila with a pretty senorita. Make sure, I know I caught some of you. I know I caught some of you. Whatever you may be doing, stealing time from your boss on the clock, watching this video at work, whatever it may be, make sure, guys, that you like and subscribe if you haven't already. What's most important to me, though, is leaving that comment.
Please clap.
I love those comments, whether they are smooth brain or well thought out, whether they are funny or dumb. I just love those comments because the YouTube algorithm is a great appreciator of it. And well, to be honest, I actually love reading your comments when I'm on the toilet. So it's like we're connected. It's YouTuber synergy. I'm the YouTuber, you're my audience, and you give me the reason to do it. So why are we going over the 1860 lever gun? Well, I am a firearms enthusiast. I'm a history enjoyer. I am not an expert in either. So take everything I do with a grain of salt. But to me, this gun represents a fantastic transitionary period with weapons tech. I'm always very interested with those transitionary periods of firearms tech. When you first get the advent of black powder, then you get flintlocks, then you get percussion caps, and then you get to the lever gun. Soon after, we would get to bolt guns, and then to semi-automatics, and then to full automatics, or assault rifles. Assault rifle! I think for the modern conflict, our version of the 1860 would be, I don't know, a railgun. You tell me. Mindless murder drones. I don't know. It is cool to see that. I mean, you gotta imagine, if you ever played Airsoft and you all were kids and you had a bunch of springers and that one kid shows up and he has a full auto electric AEG that's like a mainstream brand and he just starts murdering all of you. Or maybe you go to a paintball field and it's like there's a bunch of rinse holes with paintball guns and you have this sick tricked out paintball gun. That's what it's like, man. That's what it's like. It's a massive edge over people that you get when you have a better tech. All right, so I have here a flintlock rifle, which existed during the Civil War, of course, but it was pretty much outdated by the time of the Civil War. I'm using this because I don't have a percussion cap gun of the era, and well, it's all I got. So for the sake of this will be slower than, say, the traditional Civil War era muskets. The Civil War era reloading system, you could tear it off, pour your powder in, use that paper, and ram that Minier ball down in there, then you have a percussion cap. So for a black powder gun, they were very fast, but they were no match for an 1860 lever gun. But for the sake of entertainment, I'll try and show you guys how fast it takes to reload a black powder rifle. Oh geez, oh goodness, oh God. I missed my shot, now I have to reload as fast as possible. All right, that took forever. In comparison to didn't realize how my ears, I didn't have my ears in for that. It was loud, but it didn't hurt. Probably got my ears checked out. And of course, here's how long it takes me to fire 2 shots with a lever gun. First and foremost, why would you give Johnny Reb a chance to hit you if you're reloading? Are you gonna reload standing up? No, absolutely not. That's for those muzzle loading boys, it's not for us, okay? Howdy, partner. Are you familiar with the company Americana Pipe Dream Apparel? No? Well, you should be. Americana Pipe Dream Apparel are a bunch of fantastic young Zoomers getting after it in the milsurp space. I'm a real big fan of them Americana Pipe Dream Apparel boys because they have some of the best milsurp fashion that a feller can get, especially this hat. Look at this hat, golly. They do an excellent job in the milsurp clothing arena, guys. If you want to trick out your wardrobe and get some cool stuff, they don't just have clothing, they have a litany of other cool things that are always coming into their pipeline. Hence, Americana Pipe Dream Apparel, right? Link for them is gonna be in the description down below, so head on down there, check out the website, see if anything fits your milsurp needs. I love them greatly and they take fantastic care of me and they'll take fantastic care of you guys. So go check out Americana Pipe Dream Apparel. How does lever gun work? I don't know, but gunsmiths know. That's why we're also have to thank the Sonoran Desert Institute. Guys, get accredited gunsmith training, take your firearms education to the next level, and help get your foot in the door if you want to take that education and apply it to a career. So it's not a bad idea, and it is, I think, an excellent option for those that have a passion for firearms. Link for them will also be in the description down below, guys. At least go graduate if you do take it, and then let me know if you graduated and if you could help me out with some of my cool stuff and projects. So big thanks to SDI. Let's see if I can hit 100 yards with this bad boy. Bad boy counter. Put it in. That was a miss. Another miss. Ah, there we go. Third time's a charm. So these weren't produced to a massive, massive scale, but they were being produced during the Civil War. And they were introduced, I believe, in 1862. When these came out, I can imagine guys going gangbusters for the new tech. I mean, imagine, literally you can load up, I think at the time it was 16 rounds is what they advertised, and you can just start rip-roaring on guys that can only get off, at best, standing 3 shots a minute with those percussion cap muzzle loaders. So this to me is like, I will do whatever it takes to load up. I think I saw on Wikipedia, these cost back in the day like $40, which with inflation, I think it would be around $1,400 or $1,700 today. Asterisk it in, Colton, thank you. So, I mean, imagine like if you have the means and this thing comes to market, it's like no brainer. I may die in this conflict of this Civil War, but I'm going to have the best weapons tech possible, i.e. this bad boy. Imagine Johnny Rebs coming at you in formation. When you're breaking down to that lever gun, all right, and you see Johnny Reb coming at you, you know that in the pipe right now, you have enough ammo to handle that first threat. And you can start knocking down guys in that formation. By the time, if you land every hit and they go down with a lethal hit, or maybe it's just an injury wound, but they're out of the fight, you just took down half a platoon almost. So that's pretty freaking cool. Wait, no, platoon's like 30 or 40. Either way, you almost take out half a platoon at that point. This is a great firepower asset. Now, of course, if you're also being covered by your boys, maybe not everyone has one of these, but maybe you're being covered, so then you can reload, and then by the time they figure out what's going on, they're already getting wiped out, right? So to me, this is just a massive force multiplier for the era. That's why I'm so interested by it, because to be honest with you guys, I'm not a big lever gun guy. I think lever guns are awesome. I think the cool modern lever guns coming out are exactly that. They're cool, but there's nothing quite like an OG, I guess me being a retro nerd, this is like the retro nerd version of lever guns, like the OG scene combat lever gun of that era. So it's pretty dang neat, partner. All right, partner, to load the 1860 lever gun ain't like your conventional lever gun that you may be used to. Being this one of the very first them layered lever guns, you gotta load a little bit of funny wise. And we'll get in more to that later. But to do so, take the tab right here, pull her all the way to the top, get a little click, and you can rotate her to the side like that. Now, general consensus, partner, is that you want to load this from an angle to do it safely so the rounds aren't bumping into each other with the primer. Now, these being them round nose, flat, soft nose type rounds with 45 long Colt, not too worried about it going off with this modern tech as well, but better safe than sorry. Don't want to be losing my mittens when I could be playing the piano for the ladies. That's a decent Wild West reference, I guess. So there's a famous evocative phrase that came about from this gun, and the phrase is, I loaded this on Sunday so I can shoot all week. Because it holds so much ammo, especially for that era when you're mogging on dudes that all have single shot rifles, black powder rifles, granted. It makes a lot of sense why everyone would be like, hey, that's OP. You know, that's not fair. He's cheating now. He's got hacks. I can see that. I get that. It makes a lot of sense. All right, getting towards the end. All right. Now, rounds loaded. You release that tab, and you can see we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I believe 13. Gun's now hot, locked, ready to rock. But you can see all the rounds stacked in the tube right there. And of course, this could be an issue as far as reliability goes. Oh, I got one more. Ha! Oh. All right, so clearly you can see that the advantages of a repeating gun over a black powder rifle. I know the black powder rifle, yet again, is not the perfect example for the era, partner, but you can see just how much more advantageous it was. Reckon I could cut a man from stem to stern with this here Bowie knife. And if you don't like or subscribe this video, he'll be my next victim. General Travis Haley here with the Union Army. Hey, why do we fight Confederates? Because we can, okay? And how do our biomechanics as Yankee soldiers translate into a lever gun? Okay, so for as cool as the 1860 is, especially for the era, it did have some pitfalls. The two big pitfalls that are pretty transparent to us are gonna be that exposed magazine down here, right? So if you have a bunch of ammo, you go down to the prone, you start ripping and roaring off rounds in a dirty environment, that has a great potential to gum up the gun. And this being a gun from the 1860, it's not gonna be the most reliable when it gets dirty. Go figure, right? Another thing that the military-industrial complex of the era didn't like is the lack of bayonet lug. You know, to me, I'm like, that's a big downer, but ideally you killed everyone that had bayonets if you're using this bad boy. Okay, partner? Worst case, you run out of ammo, boom, you go to war club mode. Whoop, 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 whoop. You got a war club. You may be out of ammo, but if I'm gonna be real with you, I would bring enough ammo to not run out of ammo. That's the goal. That's the goal. In my mind, I am not going to risk hurting this baby because this is like my do or die, unless it is the last resort. Like there's like one Confederate dude that's like, he's like coming to poke me with the bayonet, and I go, hey, pop, and I pop him, right? Like I'm not gonna risk breaking this bad boy. So those are the two big glaring ones. Now, the OG 1860s that are floating around, the OG Winchester 1860s that are floating around the world, oh my God! Those are very expensive. I believe the last time I checked, they were like 50 grand. They probably went up in price. Very, very expensive pieces of history. And those ones have sling swivels on them. They should at least, to some capacity. This one does not. Not a big deal because it's more of a historical firearm. I don't plan to like sling it up. That is something I guess got to point out being the gun nerd that I am. So that's all. Another interesting thing is this has a locking type screw on the back over here that locks the lever from opening and closing. I think that's pretty neat. Gun's pretty simple. You have this like almost block. I would say it's the falling block kind of thing. I could be messing it up. Reference, not an expert. This feels like a falling block style mechanism where that block goes up and down for the ejection of the round and it cycles in that next round. Of course, no gate whatsoever on the side. Very simple gun. Another cool thing about this gun is it doubles as a survivor signal. Like if you're stuck and stranded out in the desert, you can use the receiver to signal for help. Help! Help! I think what stood out to me when I was researching the 1860 is soldiers were going out of their way, spending their own money to equip themselves with this platform. And the government, though, was providing them with a weapons platform. Quickly, they saw just how much more effective they could be as a shooter with better tech. To me, that translates today as a private citizen, you should be seeking out the best tech you can to make your chances of survivability as high as possible. Now, of course, you can't go at life alone. It's best to have friends, but at least you have the individual tools and equipment to increase those odds. What might that be? Well, weapons tech is always changing and evolving. For the most part in the 21st century, we've had very good developments in civilian market rifle ownership, but it's only a matter of time until eventually like a railgun comes along or the phaser blaster comes along and we'll have to switch over to that. But for now, our options are pretty good. So I did want to give a shout out to Henry Arms. They sent over this rifle and another rifle, the more conventional side lever gate. And I was really appreciative for them doing that because one, it's a cool gun to show off. It's a win-win. They get to show off their product. I get to talk about a product that I think is cool. Do you guys need this in your life? Well, unless you're a Wild West enthusiast, unless you're a history guy, to me, as far as lever guns go, from a consumer standpoint, right? I think this is one of the cooler lever guns to own because it is a representative of history, firearms tech, and just a cool factor, right? I think Henry and Uberti both make renditions of the 1860, the actual 1860, like I said. Very expensive to go find, very expensive to get, I should say. So I like that they have reproductions of this platform. I think it's cool. I like that a lot of companies are doing that in the modern day because it does scratch an itch. You know, if you have the means and you're like, well, I want to enhance my collection, this could be a good option for you. Now, of course, if you're balling on a budget, hey, save that money, King, until you increase that GDP of yourself. So that's kind of like my thought process with it. If I was rich, like rich, like billionaire rich, my evil billionaire stick would be like taking animals, injecting them with a bunch of HGH, and then letting them loose in the wild where they're not expected. Like off camera, Colton was telling me about a leopard that's apparently on the loose in Tucson. Could you imagine taking like a Siberian tiger, pumping that thing full of steroids, starving it for a little bit, and letting it loose in there in like Tucson, you know? Bro, that would be my brand of evil billionaire. That's what I would be. All right, for the fun of it, let's do a Mozambique drill on a target. Gun's getting a little bit dirty, but we'll show just how fast you can work it. I imagine Johnny Reb, big old Confederate running at you, pop off 2 rounds, 1 to the head, put him down. I may miss the headshot. I was thinking height over bore. There we go. There's the credit card. I got 1 Charlie, let's go check it out. What's better than 45 ACP? 45 long Colt. All right, 1 Alpha, Charlie, and then I missed the other Alpha to the head, but once I corrected, I got it. Where'd that round go? Gentlemen, hey, if you enjoyed this video on a Reproduction 1860 lever gun, feel free to let me know if you did in the comment section down below. And what else you guys would like to see on the channel. Well, gentlemen, I have nothing else for you. Stay easy, stay breezy. I'll catch you guys on the flip. Oh, f***. Did you get that?